Welcome to another video, guys. Hope you're all doing okay. Today we're gonna have a look at the signs of the soul trap in Buddhism. I might gonna make a series of signs of the soul trap in religion. I'm starting today with Buddhism because I myself got indulged into Buddhism for a couple of years. I found Buddhism very interesting. As soon as I started to wake up, I gravitated the most to Buddhism. But nowadays, I'm obviously into the Soultrap theory and not a Buddhist fan anymore. Well, I think there are a lot of things in Buddhism that are truth, but there is a lot of deception going on in there. So first I want to point out the deceptions that are in Buddhism. I think because of Buddhism is not written down at the time of the Buddha was teaching, it's been like orally passed on for 500 to 600 years. So obviously there could have been a lot of things changed, a lot of wrong interpretations, and obviously these entities are always screwing with the truth over here. So if maybe the real teachings of the Buddha were like truthful about this realm, of course these entities, they're gonna tailor it to their likings and change definitions or just put up straight up lies in there. I think that happened with karma. Karma is nowadays seems as you got some universal debt or something. So, for example, you're having a bad day and you're not so nice to your neighbors or whatever. Then now you have to pay off some karmic debt, and well, you gotta pay the price for it and experience something bad over here. I mean, I think maybe karma had a different definition, that it was more like of a action result kind of thing. So for example, I give a homeless guy $10, and then it creates some kind of ripple effect that he doesn't have to like steal money for food or drugs, whatever he wants to buy, or break into someone's car. I think it creates some kind of ripple effect in this realm. I mean, this is just a theory. Maybe that was karma all about, but they make it seem like we have some universal debt over here and we gotta pay that off. I think that's a way to get stuck in this realm for sure, because no one lives a life with like doing nothing wrong. Like even the Buddha, he if you get into his story, he left the house without telling his wife or his kid. He just like vanished one morning, and I mean that's something you get karma over, right? It's like nobody here lives a perfect life, and you always create, in that sense, new karma. So there will be an endless like cycle in this realm. This realm is just made for conflict and all the bad stuff that we experience over here. So living a life without doing any harm to anyone, that's just impossible in my opinion. Well, we're gonna have a look at the wheel of samsara. I think that's a very interesting one. I think if you just look at the wheel of samsara and with the information and the knowledge I got right now about the soul trap, it's very, very interesting. When you see above here is a demon looking entity that is having his teeth into the wheel of samsara. basically, it almost represents like he is eating of our life experience over here. It's very interesting if you know about these entities. They feed off our, of our energy. They create all these nasty experiences to create loosh, and that's their energy source. If you look at it with that knowledge, at this depiction right now, there must have been the Buddha must have known something about this entity that's keep eating our life experiences. So you got all the realms in there, the human realm, you got the hungry ghost realm, you got the demigods, their realms, you got the animal realms. All of that is being eaten by this demon there up on top. It's very interesting if you know the meaning behind it. I mean, the demon depicted above the wheel of samsara is called Mara, and it looks like he's basically eating our life experiences. And what is the Soultrap saying? Exactly that, right? So this is very interesting. Also, the Buddha is pointing towards the moon. Now, if you know one thing about the moon, it's just not a piece of rock that's floating outside of our Earth. I have some experience in lucid dreaming that I extract my energy back from the moon, and that some entities after I did that, some entities were attacking me and stuff. I had I wanted to get out of body as well while I was having a lucid dream, and I came across this white light. And there was something telling me that this is the moon. Like, I had this feeling like this false white light is the moon. Some people say it's the sun. End of the day, I think there's something with it, with the Soultrap, and some people say the souls who die over here, they get transferred to the moon first, and then they get reincarnated again. There is something about the moon in the Soultrap, and the Buddha is pointing to the moon. It's very interesting. In Buddhism nowadays, it's been like they gave a different definition about it. Like, the moon stands for luminosity, stands for clarity, it stands for your true mind. There are all kinds of, interpretations and theories about it. But what I also came across too is that the moon stands for Mahasamadhi. If you don't know about Mahasamadhi, it's basically just stepping out of your body here and stop your physical life here and get out of samsara. I made a video about it. It was how to exit the reincarnation Soultrap. I explained a little bit more about Mahasamadhi. It's very interesting to me that the Buddha is pointing to the moon, and it kind of means Mahasamadhi. This is what he meant. Just knowing about the false white light and the reincarnation cycle, and knowing the true nature of this reality. It might be the case. So I thought that was very interesting. I think this is a clear sign that, Buddhism was originally about just escaping this realm. The thing is, Theravada Buddhism, where I got really interested in, is still like focusing on just escaping this realm in this life. Well, you have these other kind of Buddhisms, like Mahayana Buddhism. I think that's a really strange one, because they make a vow to become a bodhisattva. And that means that they're gonna keep reincarnating until every sentient being is freed from samsara. Every sentient being. So this includes animals, all that crap. I mean, that is, in my opinion, that is just a way to keep you stuck here forever. Because this realm can just create like NPCs or whatever. and you, with your good intentions, keep reincarnating here because you made a vow of becoming a bodhisattva, you will just keep in an endless loop reincarnating over here, because there are always gonna be animals here, gonna be some NPCs, they just spawn over here. It just didn't make any sense for me. And it's been introduced in Buddhism like way later as well. Somewhere in China, some monk like just came up with it and say like, oh no, it's the greatest form of compassion, you know. That's how they get you. Like, I mean, it sounds nice. It sounds very compassionate to stay in this realm until every being is out there. But if they're just spawning new NPCs over here, it just keeps you in there, it keeps you trapped. So, like, I want all of the real beings to get out of here as well. But I also think that might be used against us to keep reincarnating again here. It's like, oh, but there's so many true beings over here. You need to come back to, save somebody again. I mean, I think it's just a trap as well. So yeah, it's an interesting one, Buddhism. I still think there's a lot of truth in Buddhism, but I mean, it's mainly nowadays these different kind of Buddhism. They focus a little bit more on, living a good life here, being kind towards other people, being helpful. And I think still Theravada is still focused on just like getting out of here. But I've been to Thailand myself, and I've been to a lot of monasteries. I talked with former monks, and they just say like 90 to 95% of these monasteries, they don't even really practice properly. Like, I was on a farm. Like, this guy had a self-sufficient farm, and he was a monk for 20 years. And we went to his monastery where he was a monk, and he pointed to there was one elderly monk, because it was a very small village, and he pointed at the monk, and he said, "This monk, he doesn't even know what meditation is." And he just kept explaining me that he traveled all around Thailand, and that he said like, yeah, 90 to 95% of them, they don't really practice. They don't really have any idea about this stuff. Even the people who are Buddhist over here, if I tell them about, the reincarnation cycle and that we need to get out of there, they don't want to hear it. They just really can't grasp it. So for me, that was quite shocking. Like, I had like kind of high hopes that all these people are like trying to get out of this reincarnation cycle, and apparently it's just not really, they don't really know what actually is going on. And even the Buddhist people over there, they don't really have any idea what's going on. Even in their religion, it's just been passed on as, you just be kind and all of that. You give a lot of presents to the monks, and even that, when I saw all these monks, like, people were like bowing down before them, all of that, you just saw it in their face that they were way up into their ego. Like, they felt very special that all these people were like bowing down to them. And man, I've heard later on as well that a lot of these guys, they drive cars, they go to prostitutes and all of that. So for me, that was quite a shock when I went to Thailand for the first time, and I started to learn about what actually is going on, and that people don't really have an idea about actually Buddhism. So yeah, that was the first time I started really doubt Buddhism, and maybe started to think that I should search something else, and just get some other kind of belief structure, because it didn't make sense after a couple of years. I just started to really doubt it, and eventually I got out of it, and I got into some other ideas, new age ideas and stuff like that as well. But really soon I found out about the Soultrap, and that's where we're at now. So I don't think it's gonna change for me. I think this is like the final rabbit hole I went into. At least I hope so. But anyways, I might gonna make a series on all the religions, do some research if there are any signs of the Soultrap in there. I'm never been interested into the Abrahamic religions, but I will have a look at it. You know, we all know about Gnosticism and the Cathars. They basically believe we're in a Soultrap reincarnation cycle. So I think I'm gonna do Hinduism after this one, and maybe I do the Abrahamic religions as well, and we'll see, guys. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I see you with the next.